Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I'm your host, TJ Cornwell.
And it was TJ's, 21st birthday? Is that what it was? 21st birthday?
No, 27.
27. Wow. I'll get there. I feel like every year you get ahead of me and then I catch up eventually. It's like a foreshock. Your birthday's like a foreshock to the year that I can expect. It was TJ's birthday yesterday on Wednesday. If you are watching this on Thursday when it came out to you guys, so we took Wednesday off, but we are wanting to get up some of our thoughts. Wednesdays kind of work against us normally, but I feel like right now we're kind of in the pocket of a really nice thing where we're going to get our Peacemakers episode 5 thoughts out to you guys before episode 6 comes out tonight, and we also are going to be giving you our thoughts on the first 4 episodes of Gen V because since we took last night off, we were able to watch the episode for the second week of airing because we did not. We just didn't have a chance because the first 3 episodes came out while we were live last week, so we can't review it then. Classic Ahsoka problem, if anybody watched back during Ahsoka when we would be live as the episode was airing. All right. Let's go ahead and dive right in here where it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show since we're doing this pre-tape, but make sure that you guys take a look here for our Peacemaker episode 5 thoughts. And then if you haven't seen Gen V yet, go watch Gen V, come back here. We'll talk about the first 4 episodes and then talk about it every week going forward since it'll kind of, it'll keep us going once Peacemaker ends in just 2 weeks. So speaking of, let's go ahead and talk about Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 5. This one is called Back to the Suture, obviously continuing the little, the puns that we can expect from every episode of Peacemaker that we get. Now, this one came out about a week ago, so we are as stretched as possible from, I know the last time TJ saw it, I luckily had the 35 minutes that this episode was long. Just now, I just rewatched it. I will start off here because I normally throw to TJ. I think I really like this episode. I think this is like the beginning of the ramp up where people were, do I still feel like some of the dialogue concerns that I've had are still there? Yes. Yeah. But this was the first episode that it really feels like the momentum and the kind of pacing issues that we've had so far this season feel like they're starting to move along. And then obviously, we get complete wrap-ups, or what we assume are complete wrap-ups on a few different storylines and a few different plot threads in this episode, kind of setting the stage for the next 3 episodes to kind of almost be like our 3-part finale, because we know James Gunn has been saying over and over again that, after episode 5, that's when things really get kind of crazy with the season. Yeah. So I really like this episode. I really like the ending. I thought it had great comedy, great action, obviously, in a couple different places. And then I think, obviously, most of which in this episode is going to be all the emotions that they were able to get out of the audience and get out of pretty much everybody that I've seen that have seen this episode at the end. So I was a really big fan of this one. But what about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I thought it started off really strong, specifically with like the flashback to Rick Flag's funeral, and then we see them we see Chris and Hardcore meeting, and Chris knows it's a trap, so he's it's played for comedy where they're trying to snipe him, and he's kind of doing all these things with members of the community, he's playing soccer and he's doing hopscotch with a bunch of kids and stuff like that. I thought all that worked really well. It was really funny.
All that stuff was funny.
And then I thought there were some good emotional moments as well. More so when Chris leaves to go to the other dimension, and kind of the conversation between the gang and deciding to go after him, all that stuff. I thought all that was great. And I thought the Michael Rooker Eagle Hunter character, I thought that was funny. It died in a very very much how I expected that character to go. He didn't. Yeah. He went an episode later than I thought he would, because I thought he was going to go when he got shoved into that rock by Economos, which obviously he didn't die there. But him pulling out the Looney Tunes-esque gun, I thought was very, very funny. What do you think about this kind of this burdening? And this is me, not really talking the most about Rick Flag Sr., even though I thought Frank Grillo had a really great episode here, especially that scene in the interrogation room. What do you think about this like budding relationship they are kind of hinting at between Rick Flag and Bordeaux?
I think they did a lot of interesting things with Bordeaux this week. Like, I want to get your thoughts on like what you thought about like the cyborg reveal,
right?
Or like the moment or whatever. But I want to kind of answer this by drilling in a little bit on Rick Flag in this episode, just because I think you already mentioned one, which is the Rick St. Wild, or as Judo Master calls him, Bill Suckcock. Which I thought was hilarious. Judo Master also, I did not pull a picture of Judo Master this week, but I should have. Pretty big moment at the end of the episode that he chooses. I feel like rewatching it now too, it's like he really thinks about that decision. Like, is this worth it? Like, and it almost feels more like he's making the decision like personally, more so than like, oh, this is what Argus needs or something like that. But Judo Master is great this week too. I think another, probably the biggest one, is you've had this tension rising the whole season of Rick Flag Sr. wants to get his hands on Chris. You know what I mean? He wants to get his hands on Chris, and that's what he wants. He wants retribution for his son, all this stuff. And we got the character to that point, and we saw the machinations that got him there and everything like that. And then we saw him beat up on him and everything. But I do kind of, and I think that James Gunn, I think the intention of the scene with Rick Flag and Bordeaux, less so about like the call me Rick part and more so about the dimensional gateway thing. I do believe him, and I think we're supposed to believe him, or James Gunn hopes that we believe him in that moment. But I do get that it was kind of almost like a little whiplashy, like jerky kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think on a season arc, when we're done with all 8, I think we'll look back and go, okay, this is the interrogation scene was the pivot point where we're like, okay, Rick Flag is not our villain for this season. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the moment that everything, all that tension just explodes in that interrogation room. He did get his, he got his licks in on Chris, and he got that kind of out of his system. But I do believe him that he's like, however ham-handed some of the dialogue I think was to deliver all that exposition of like, it was my plan all along. Right. I do believe him in that moment. And then in as far as the Bordeaux thing, I don't really know what the hell that's about. I don't know if that's just continuing the Creature Commandos vibe of like, this guy, he's the kind of guy that could just like get anybody, type of thing. I'm not really sure what that is, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, something I just thought too. Like, I feel like that's like a little bit of growth too from Chris as a character as well that we're seeing. Is like he kind of just took it. Like he didn't fight back in any way. Yeah. When he was getting the hell beat out of him. And something I just remember just looking at a screenshot too. Tim Meadows' character Langston, he's like not all on board with this either.
I know, he's got
having a crisis of conscience. He's got that great
moment, where he gets called Shaft, and it's a real boost to his ego, I think.
Right.
But then he's got the other great moment with our guy here who's been holding it down all season.
Yeah.
When Economos makes the brave decision again, where he's like, I don't know this plan that Rick Flag has. So as far as we know, he's about to kill him, and the only way to get any justice for Chris, whether he kills him in this moment or locks him in prison forever, is to book him properly. And I like that we see that. And then, we get that great moment with Fleury where he's like, that was the right thing to do. And it's this character who has been so sarcastic and so, and even James Gunn has, and you and me have compared him. It's like, he's filling that role that Chris had in season 1, where it's like, he'll say the crazy thing to be like, what the hell? But now it feels like, even he is going to get an arc, and it's just in that one line. And this is a character that in episode 2, all anybody could talk about was like, what's going on with this guy? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what's this guy's tone and where does he fit in the show and everything? But just on that one line to Economos, you're like, oh, is this guy, am I about to like root for this guy. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just, I don't know if that's the Tim Meadows-ness coming to its, full fruition, or if it's the James Gunn dialogue or whatever, but that moment just worked so well. And it's just so, I mean, it's literally a second and a half. But it's like, a second and a half just changed this guy in my mind as an audience member completely. Yeah. I thought that was a great moment.
I was thinking like I feel like every episode, has that like comedic beat where it just goes too long. Like I think for this episode, it was probably the Vigilante and Adebayo conversation about like
the phone call.
Like that kind of stuff. What did you think? Did you find that funny? And then you were kind of like, okay, like I get it. Like let's just keep moving on. It's like one of those things where it's like it just seems like once an episode you have those like conversations between characters where it's like, okay, it was funny for like first 5-10 seconds and now it's just going on way too long.
Yeah, I think you're right that there has been one of those every episode. This is definitely that, because honestly it's one of the only moments of pure humor in this episode, because it gets so kind of serious, other than maybe like you said, Chris, doing the little Looney Tunes in the park with the soccer kids and stuff. I liked it. Again, I think it's just one of those things that like it needed a tightness pass, but also I think we're seeing, I mean, I think it is inarguable, and it does make me worried about the next 3 episodes, but I think I could believe him when he's like, I feel like James Gunn is kind of saying like, after episode 5, that's when I really started, locking in, I feel like it's a little bit. Is it that 6, 7, and 8 are so much cooler, or is it just that he's like, those are the ones that I really put my all into? Because I think it's inarguable up to this point. This show feels like first or second pass at the script. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just rewatched season 1 right before this season started, and that show is that first season is so tight, and everything is boom, 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 like bang, bang, bang. And it's like, that's what you can do when the guy writing the show is on set every day. And that, the writer of this season was really not involved that much on the episodes that he didn't direct. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that we're going to see him direct, I believe 7 and 8, James Gunn directed, I believe. And I think we're just going to get a real nice build here going towards the end here. Yeah, but I mean, let's talk about, unless there's anything else bigger that we want to discuss from this one. I mean, we have the shots here of Eagly.
Yeah, that is something I'm interested to see what they do with. I have no background knowledge on, I don't even know what is the term that Mike Rooker's character uses?
The prime eagle?
The prime eagle.
I don't think that's from anything.
Is that from? Okay.
I don't even, I don't, at least right now from where I'm sitting, I don't believe that is from the comics. But it's interesting. I think it was obviously it was a crazy cool visual. It was something that you and I both were like, 2 weeks ago, you and I both were like, he wouldn't say that if it wasn't going to end up actually being true. And then it did end up being actually true. And I really liked the visual of it, but also, I mean, we know that Chris didn't have Eagly in the other universe, but that doesn't mean that Eagly doesn't exist in the other universe. You know what I mean? And what happens if maybe there's 2 prime eagles on the same Earth? Could we see like an evil Eagly? You know what I mean? To go with the evil version of the Earth or something. I don't know. But I think, one of 2 things can happen. It's like, this is either like, this was just the complete end of Eagly's, storyline this season. And we're going to see him, play a much more, supporting, kind of aloof presence like he had in the first season. Or we could be tripling down and there could be a whole prime eagle versus prime eagle, Earth 1 versus Earth X. Eagly going on. But yeah, I want to talk about, I want to get your thoughts on this November Rain Guns N' Roses montage at the end. Obviously, you kind of talked about it before with John Cena delivering this amazing monologue in the form of this. Basically, you could look at it as a running away letter, as a, suicide letter, because essentially that's to his friends. That's essentially what he's chosen to do. what were your thoughts on this whole scene, this whole sequence? Obviously, I think we've been building to this whole season with Vigilante being kind of feeling, for whatever you want to say about, Vigilante's just in there to kind of be a joke mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Through all those scenes that we've been getting this season, you do feel him feeling like the fifth wheel. You know what I mean? To everybody that he's interacting with. Probably only the party on the roof was really the time where they all felt equal and stuff like that. But he just, has been feeling this way. And you can see, obviously, through Freddie Stroma's incredible performance in this, that he, breaks down completely at this letter from Chris. You see that it kind of galvanizes Amelia. It kind of, Economos just kind of honestly looks a little like despondent to the news. And then obviously Adebayo with that hug with Vigilante looks like she's just trying to hold it all together, to kind of get through this. So what were your thoughts on this, on the note itself? If you want to talk Judo Master going with him, because honestly, I just watching it again just now, I felt the emotion of Judo Master making that decision to go after him, because it's like, he's calling in on the radio. He's like, what do I do? What, like, can you guys hear me? And he's just got to make that judgment call. And I thought that was a great character moment for him. But how did you feel about this ending, the note, everything like that? And then where do you think we're going?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the whole kind of note thing and all that made sense, just because in the beginning of the episode, like, he basically, the only thing keeping him in that universe is the chance that Harcourt is like, oh yeah, I want to be with you, or something like that. And basically when he like asks her, like, hey, like that night on the, I forget where they were, on the cruise or something, on the boat. What was that? Does that mean anything? And she's like, no, like, you killed my best friend. Like, I don't want to be with you.
Do you believe her when she says that?
I don't, because of how, like, I believe it in the moment, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I feel like and this is obviously like, it's not like her memory or anything that we're watching in the very beginning of the episode when we're at the funeral, but it's like, we just saw, like, obviously how much Rick Flag Jr. meant to her. And I feel like she's probably still obviously she's still dealing with that. But at the same, like, she also like saved him by basically like taking him out, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I feel like she's just kind of like caught in between all these different feelings, and she doesn't really know what to do. And I think probably for Chris too, like, he doesn't want to leave this universe, even though like the other one, from what he sees, is so much better, because he's like, oh, I could go have this perfect relationship in this other universe. Like, he wants to have one with like his Harcourt, but if he can't do that, then he's going to do what he needs to do and go to the other one. Yeah. So I thought all that was great.
Yeah, which honestly is more is a better choice that Chris made than I thought this season was going. I thought he was going to be. I thought when we went to the other Earth, I thought he was just going to stay there. I thought that was like he was just going to be there. But I really liked that they were like, no, this guy has evolved, and he is going to come back to his Earth and go, all right, that one, like, I spent a day and a half there and it was incredible, but like, I have to make sure that I'm not leaving anything on the table.
Right.
And I thought that was great that they did that. And I thought it was super believable that, and again, the words of that letter in the monologue, as delivered by John Cena in the voiceover, was really, really moving, when he's like, I've tried, like, you can feel it in his delivery when he's like, I have tried everything to right my wrongs, and it's clearly not enough. And right when he says that, the camera's on Harcourt, and you can see that it's like you kind of said, it's like when she's on this bench here in the spur of the moment, he's like, I need you to answer the question. I need you to answer the question. And she's like, they're about to kill you. And he's like, I need you to answer it. And I think she just defaults to no, absolutely not. Right. But it's like, if the pressure wasn't on, and then I think hearing the note, like I said, it kind of galvanizes her to be like, no, we're going to get Chris. I think she realizes maybe in that moment, maybe even for the first time, how much he really does mean to her once she knows that he's gone. You know what I mean? It's like you
Right.
kind of, you don't value it until,
Right.
you know, you lose it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which again, I think it's like for as much as this show has been kind of, I don't even want to use the term as rough as like plodding along for this season. Like it's just been a slow ride this season so far. I think I want to say as my last thing, I think we're in the territory of it's been a slow ride because it's all gonna come
lead up
paying off and snowballing in these next three, which I'm really excited. I mean, literally tonight is the next episode comes out.
If I had to guess, it'll probably at the end of I think this episode tonight, it'll be like, oh, this place sucks because of this.
Yeah,
like we'll get that realization.
Exactly. I was talking to my friend. I want to ask you this, and then you can say whatever you have left on Peacemaker.
Yeah.
So there's kind of three ways that we can go about this, which is the audience finds out before anybody.
Yeah.
We find out with Chris, or we find out with the 11th Street kids when they come over. What do you think is going to which one do you think it would be?
Yeah.
And then I have a theory on how it could be all three.
Yeah. I think it would be kind of cool if we could find out prior to the characters, and then we can, you kind of build that tension, like, oh, when are they going to figure it out? This thing. So I would go with that option. I think it'd be interesting. How would you do it? I guess where it's like, or maybe would you like if say like the group of them find out before Chris? Like, I don't even know how you would play that though. You know what I mean? Because like. Would Chris just be like, yeah, it's not like I never really noticed that when I was here.
So what I was thinking was a way that you could kind of do it all is if Chris is like in a scene with, Harcourt and maybe, his dad or Harcourt and his brother or something like that. And they all do like a toast and they say, something crazy or something happens where they just talk about it openly. And my immediate thought would be like that Chris would be like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? But what if it's like, we figure it all out and it's revealed to us right as it's revealed to Chris, but he doesn't react. What if he just like plays it cool and then is like, oh fuck, I need to, like, the only person you can talk to is Eagly. Maybe we even get a Chris and Judo Master team up.
Oh yeah.
That could be crazy.
Yeah.
But
we're also assuming, because I don't think Judo Master is like white, so like he might also stick out.
They explicitly refer to him as a Chinaman in the last episode, and he goes, "I'm Vietnamese." Yeah, and then obviously I think the 11th Street gang, especially if Flurry is with them, maybe if Flurry and Adebayo go through that door, it's like I think we're gonna know pretty quick,
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah. I could see it be like they're walking down the street the same way Chris was. But all of a sudden you see cop cars like converging on them or something. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of interesting ways that they could play that. But I think you're absolutely right that it's not going to be too long before we know for sure what is going on.
And it'll probably be like I think that it was in I don't know if it was in the preview, like last episode or whatever it was, but like it'll probably be his dad and his brother that see the other, like, the rest of the people for the first time,
if they come through the like the library set,
right?
100%. All right, well, thank you guys for joining us for our Peacemaker season 2 episode 5 discussion. This will be up on the channel as its own video as well, so if you're seeing that, thank you guys so much. We should have our thoughts on episode 6 live for you guys next week. But we also have a bunch of stuff on the channel right now. You can go and watch our Andor reviews, our Peacemaker Season 1 reviews, anything like that. The Mandalorian and Grogu channel the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer just came out. And believe it or not, we actually have reviews for all episodes of The Mandalorian up on the channel as well in their own playlist. I've been working a little bit on getting some of the stuff together in their own playlists. That I am trying to kind of organize the chaos that is all the shows that we have done over the years. But thank you guys so much for joining us for the Peacemaker talk. And let us know down below what you think is going to happen in the rest of the season. All right. Boom. All right, TJ, let's go ahead and talk about Gen V.
Boom.
All right. So Gen V hang on. Let's see here. For those of you guys that are, you know what I've embraced, and all this is going to stay in, is on the Break Room channel that I watch. They do their stuff. They do this live. They go live and they talk about like, oh, we got to roll the tape back on that, and then they just put what's it called? They put it all out together. Does that make sense? Like they change their overlays live, and then when they post it later, all that stuff's edited out, which I think is really, really cool. So there you go. That's how you change an overlay. All right, let's get into this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Planet Film Network. If you're joining us just for this bit where we are talking about Gen V Season 2, episodes 1 through 4, which, like, it's crazy that the show has been out for a week and we already have half the season out. But we are going to talk about it. We're going to talk about many things about Gen V. TJ, I'm going to let you take the wheel and go first on this one. We just watched episodes 1 through 4 basically in the last like 72 hours, I think, for both of us. So they are very fresh of mind. Let's go ahead and start off. Very first thing I want to hear from you. We're back. What do you think of this new season?
I'll say so when I started it last night. And I'll be honest, the first 2 episodes, I really was not connecting fully. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's been so long, and I actually just looked. So the first season was 2023. So it actually is not as long ago as I thought it was. It seemed farther away than that. But I think as the 3rd and 4th episode started to come along, I got more and more involved. There's a few kind of storylines that I'm interested in and a few that I can kind of do without. I will say, I think the star of the show, hands down, is Lizzie Broadway. Whenever Emma is a character on screen, I think it's just the best parts of the show, personally. And then I'm also very interested in Marie and her kind of backstory and how her so-called as a weapon is going to be used. And I will also say Hamish Linklater, I thought it was really good as well. And he's someone that, like, I know who he is, but like in the moment, I can't think of his name. So like he pops up, I'm like, I know that guy, but I'm like, I can't think of what he's in or whatever. And then I looked him up. I was like, oh yeah, okay, now I know you. So I thought all that was great, and I thought it was interesting how they used the death of Chance Perdomo, I think is how you pronounce his name, in real life, unfortunately, and how they kind of used that as well in the story. So I would say that the first 2 episodes I thought were a little like, I just really was not grabbed by them. But as I kept watching, I thought 3 and 4 I was like, okay, now I'm a little bit more on board, and I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes.
Yeah, I feel like I was exactly the same way, but probably a little more by some point inside episode 2. It was like, but the first episode was very, I think we were talking a little off mic before we started here, that it's like these shows are very serialized. Like like I think one of the best things about The Boys and now about Gen V is that The Boys has never ever been a, it just feels like a movie chopped up. It has always been, every season there's a big bad. Homelander's always there, but every season there's a big bad. Every season there's a new element. Every season there's new characters introduced. Every season of these, the Boys universe shows, or the Vought shows, whatever they want to say, the Vought CU, they all feel like they have their own identity to each other. You know what I mean? And I feel like probably the biggest issue with that was the cliffhanger ending of season 1, leading to kind of having to, by 15 minutes into the first episode, be kind of reset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With certain things happening to certain people. And we are going to go into full spoiler territory for Gen V. So if you have watched the show, keep going. If you don't care about spoilers, keep going there. But yeah, definitely, I think I would recommend it and take the time to watch the show, come back to the review for sure. But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing with episode 1 that led me to be like, wait, what? Okay, what are we doing here? And then like the cold open with Ethan Slater, I was like, is that Bach? And of course it was. Very interested to see where that might go because of certain things that, you know, happened in episode 4. Well, like I said, full spoiler review. So yeah, let's jump into it. Let's kind of go because again, we're trying to keep this to under an hour here. Let's just kind of go character to character and kind of bring up the plots as they go. But let's kind of start on kind of the big driving force here this season, which is Cypher, the new dean, like you said, played by Hamish Patel. Very, very, or what is it? What is his name?
Linklater.
Hamish Linklater. Hamish Patel is from Tenet and Yesterday and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, played by Hamish Linklater. We have Cypher here, who is kind of we find out by episode 4, in many ways, a kind of fucked up Funhouse mirror version of Professor X, who is training these kids up, giving this kind of crazy vitriolic, talk. Very, very impassioned. I said out loud when I was watching it, I said, this guy is going full General Hux. And not in a I'm the spy kind of way, more in a, Star Killer base kind of way.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Cypher, the performance, the writing, the kind of presence in the show? Where do you think this is all leading? And we could go right into any of the Odessa stuff and Marie and anything else that's coming up.
Yeah, I think so far he's a pretty good like main antagonist, it seems like. His name's literally Cypher. I think they make a joke about that. It's like, oh, very on the nose.
Yeah.
Because they literally know nothing about him. I'm interested to see where it goes. Like, at one point in season or in episode 4, they like are convinced he has no powers, but then he clearly has some sort of ability. So I'm very interested to see where that goes, and then how that plays into like the whole what's the project called? Is it Odessa? That's like the project name. Yeah. So like how that kind of all plays together. I thought maybe he was like some sort of like I just had a feeling he was like some sort of like he could transform into some sort of like creature or something. I don't know why.
Like I was Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, like I was just getting some sort of weird vibe from that. That doesn't seem to be the case. I could be wrong. But I'm really interested to see where that goes, and then kind of playing off that as well, because it kind of has to do with him, because it's in his like dean house is this burnt up guy in a freaking iron lung. So we don't know what the deal is with this guy. Who I think, I know he said it was his dad. I think it's I think it's Ethan Slater. Because we see in the beginning of the first episode, he's like basically on fire.
He also says, there's the whole, we really don't have time. There's so many storylines in these 4 episodes, but very quickly, I'll just say the Aunt Pam scene, which was a great scene that I'd love to do a whole 30 minutes on by itself. She literally says, oh, that's Dr. Gold. He was there when you were born.
Right.
Well, Dr. Gold Doken, obviously, like that's not much of a stretch. But I was saying, so we know, he and Kate and a bunch of different people have said repeatedly, what's so good, and kind of the new Ashley, the girl with like the bee stinger. I don't know how much I like that going on, but and that's more, and I hate to say this, I feel like that's kind of more the actress to me is like, I just don't really, I don't know. It's like I'm gonna call somebody out very specifically, but I hope she's not watching. Like David F. Sandberg's wife, who is in both of the Shazam movies as like a extra, who basically just screams and is like one of the worst screen presences I've ever seen in a major blockbuster in both movies. It kind of feels like that a little bit, where I'm like, man, you are really, I feel like you're trying to be like an Ashley, and I'm really not believing it. But anyways,
I
how
think
did
it's
get
more
to
the
her?
character, honestly. Like, I just don't
Really?
think there's
Yeah.
really much there for her to be playing off of, because I feel like Ashley, she kind of had a purpose. Like, she wasn't like just
Yeah.
there to be like walking around telling kids what to do and telling
Yeah,
Homelander
like
blah blah blah.
she's just like an exposition dump this
Right,
episode.
and then they keep like going like, oh, she's gonna, if she stings you, you both die. So it's like,
Yeah,
okay, that's gonna come up at some point. It's just like when it happens, it happens.
exactly.
Blah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, they keep saying, he was so dedicated to perfecting, the best, making the best superhero possible or whatever, perfecting the formula, whatever you want to say. I think maybe because the only reason that Marie thought he didn't have powers is because she couldn't feel the V in his blood. And I'm like, well, who's the only other person that we know that's like that? And that's Ryan, who is a superhero and is a soup and has powers, but doesn't have compound V because he was a naturally born soup. And I'm like, what if this guy is also like Ryan and is a natural born soup? So he has abilities and powers, but he has no V in his system.
Yeah.
So it's like I think that's kind of where they're going with that. Could be something totally different, but I just think that's that's such a needle to thread to give us all of that specific information.
Yeah.
But I really don't know how or what, like, I don't know where we're going with the fact that his dad is still alive and that his dad is in this coffin or this.
One last thing I'll say, and then we can kind of move on to a different character, is something that I think they've obviously hinted at us in, I think it's season 3 and 4 with the boys.
Yeah.
When Butcher like injects himself, and there's clearly some sort of weird thing like going on in his head with some weird plasm creature thing or whatever.
Like got venom powers.
Right, or something weird like that. And they kind of reference that as well, I feel like, in the beginning with like all those doctors in the beginning, like shooting themselves up and like things coming out of people's orifices that should.
Yeah, I mean, basically the tentacle one was, to me, looked almost exactly like what Butcher has.
Right. So I'm like, oh, so there's something here where they haven't, obviously it hasn't been anything with the boys. Like, we haven't like seen, I don't think, fully like what that is. Maybe this this last season they'll do that. But I like that they're kind of, they're like reminding you. It's like, oh, remember this? Like, this is a thing. It'll probably come back at some point.
Yeah, and the synergy between these two shows is so good because it's like, not only will it probably come back, I have faith that it's important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have faith in Eric Kripke that it's like, and we've already seen it. What happened in the woods in season 1 directly gave them the intel to try and get Victoria Newman over to their side.
Right.
In the boys, and now vice versa. Now everything that Kate and them and Sam did with the 7, and they even reference like, that Sam's like, I ripped that screaming lady away from her boyfriend. And I turned to my roommate and I said, that's the first time they've ever canonically called Frenchie and Kimiko boyfriend and girlfriend. And I was like, and it was Sam on Gen V who said it. But yeah, all that stuff was great. But let's talk about, let's go over to Sam and to Kate here. Kind of our going into the season, assumed antagonists, but now I think in a very well done way. I think we are already in the territory of complicated feelings we're kind of already rooting for the redemption of both of these people in a certain way. But how do you feel about where we've gone with Sam just kind of being like, you have to face your stuff in order to conquer it. You can't just lash out. And then everything going on with Kate with, what happened with Jordan at the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
And now everything with her trying to take down Cypher with them.
Yeah, I think Sam and Kate are probably the characters I was struggling with the most, especially in the beginning of the first episode. Because, again, like you said, they show up in the boys, but I could not for the life of me remember in what capacity. Yeah. So when they're kind of concocting this whole thing where it's like, well, actually, you're more safe at the school, so we did a deal to get you back here and like the stuff. And it's like a lot of stuff. Like, it's a lot of mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
For somebody who, and I personally, like, they did a recap. I didn't think it was that great. honestly,
Oh,
as far
really?
as getting us to where we were. So I had to
Mhm.
watch like another video that I was like, wait, how do we get here?
That first season is complex. Every season
Yeah,
of The Boys is like they're all like it's so interwoven
right.
like with each other. It's hard to do a recap
But
for
once I
sure.
kind of got past all that, I'm really interested to see kind of like where those characters go. Sam, they're kind of when they both find out about the death of I'm sorry, the
Andre.
character's name. Yeah. When they're very distraught. And I'm really interested to see where that takes them and how they kind of, it seems like they're all going to kind of join the team. So how that goes.
Yeah.
I thought the puppet stuff was great again, like him
Mhm.
talking to the tuna sandwich and the
The
trash
tuna
can and the
sandwich
sun.
killed me.
Yeah,
That was hilarious.
I thought that was all very, very funny.
Where are you going?
Yeah, and then to see if
9/11.
if Kate gets her like actual powers back.
Yeah.
I thought the kind of like, I forget what they call it, like pushing the guard, where she's like, "Oh, give me your keys," and blah blah, and he like goes and has sex with a gnome or whatever. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they got into the house that easily. Honestly, I thought there was going to be like I thought it was going to be this whole episode thing where they're trying to get into this like safe room, but it takes like 2 seconds, which whatever. But yeah, I'm interested to see like where they kind of end up and if she, ends up getting her powers back, because she right now is like fully on everybody else's side. It seems like,
Yeah.
Sam is kind of making his way there. I don't know if he's like quite there yet.
Yeah, I think it's really touching to have, I think it's like, The Boys is about these militaristic people forming this team. Not to say that Huey and Annie are militaristic, but like, you know what I mean? It's like people like MM and Frenchie and like these hardened guys like being like, we've got to band together. We got to get this thing done. And I feel like this show is like about the bonds you make in high school and in college with like people that are your own age. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there is that element of like these people that all fall in together. And I feel that in places like, again, and we will definitely get to talking about these three for sure, obviously. But I really feel that in the scene with Jordan and Sam when they're watching the, what is it, Avenue V with Sam and being like, sometimes you just need to, just empty your mind, just chill out. I'll sit here with you and everything. And I thought that dialogue was really good and really effective in kind of getting Sam more over to a place of, of redemption. And I really liked too, and we could kind of go into her specifically, and then probably we can end with Marie and Jordan, because there's obviously the most to talk about with them. But let's talk about Emma. And I'm sorry, you said Lizzie Broadway, right? Is her name?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I think, first of all, I will say this. My memory is that I like Marie and Jordan as characters a lot more this season already. And I like Emma more, but I loved Emma last season.
Right.
So it's like I love all three of them better this season, I think, than I did before. I just think that things in the way that they're writing Marie and Jordan and the story together, which we'll get into in a second, is great. But really the way that they're writing Emma and kind of this arc that they're giving her to do. And kind of with talking about Emma, we can talk a little bit about Andre Sr., Polarity 1, or I guess just back to just Polarity. But I think that he is a really great presence this year, who he was kind of a little antagonistic last season. He's another one that kind of has had to do an about face kind of really fast, to where he's also now on the team. And I think has a really great dynamic with Emma, with their kind of searching of the file room with the Rememberer and stuff. All that stuff was really, really funny. But I really like Emma's dynamic with it's Harper and I forget her actual name, but Bushmaster. And Bushmaster's brother, the blonde guy, who I thought was going to be like bad news or something like that, but maybe he is just a really good guy. What are your thoughts on this kind of Emma dealing with? Do I want to go back to social media? I just got out of this prison. Now I'm back at this other form of a
Right.
cage, but within it, you know, we're going to do the right thing. And not only are we going to do the right thing, but I'm going to use what little, you know, credibility and respect that I have from my actions in the first season to inspire other people. And it's kind of this conversation we heard repeated a couple times where it's like, you know, she gives this big speech of, you know, someone believed in me and now that's why I believe that I can do these things. And then we, you know, hear Harper say that, you know, you're doing that for her now. And you kind of see that register with Emma. And I think that's just another in a long line of incredible kind of character moments and really just acting beats from Lizzie Broadway. But where you want to go talk about anything with Emma?
Yeah. I think something really strong that I've noticed for that character, for the character of Emma through those 4 episodes, just like you said, like how she's lifting like literally all of these characters up. Whether it be the 2 girls that she meets, the coffee girl that is like serving the coffee and how she's like kind of, you know, helping her out, talking her through it. Like, hey, we're gonna, you know, not all these soups are like the same, you know, like I'm not here to, you know, like I forget what the one guy does. He's like, I'm gonna freaking kill you if you keep putting up those.
And then he steals a
scone or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the resist posters. So I think like her kind of doing that, and then also like learning how to use her powers so that she doesn't have to like throw up every time, or which is something I also like forgot. Like how I was like, how does she like shrink and get big again? Because it was like she throws up, and then what was the other thing? She she like eats a lot of food or something. Was that it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Because it was basically an analogy for like binging and purging.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I thought all that was really interesting. And just kind of her getting into these like kind of crazy situations, like her like in episode 4 going through the pipe and ending up in the toilet, I thought was really funny.
Very Ant-Man. That felt like the sequence from the first Ant-Man movie.
Right. And then her kind of running around with the phone, I thought was funny as well. Trying to show the video. I thought that was really funny.
And then her in the file room when she gets big and stuff, and it's like awkward, but it's like it's so charming.
Speaking of that too, I think it's really interesting to see. I mean, obviously we've already seen that kind of why some of these characters are Nazis, like white supremacists. Like we've seen that in previous seasons. But it also seemed like they kind of lingered on a lot of that stuff for the time being before they found the file they were looking for. So I don't know if that's going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
But maybe
that felt like Watchmen.
Right. Exactly. Yes, I agree. So I'll be interested to see how that, you know, goes. But yeah, I think Emma so far has just been like the standout character for me. Not that the other 2, like specifically Marie and Jordan, it's kind of like a trio, but for me, whatever Emma as a character's on screen, I'm locked in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Before we get to the other 2, what are your thoughts on polarity, on Andre's dad kind of being this person who's kind of, you know, antagonistic in the first season, grumpy in the first episode, and then now he's basically he's just one of the team now.
Right.
But with the big distinction being he's on the staff and that he is like inside, but also we can't talk about forever, but I just keep coming back to this guy is so smart. And I think that's what makes that's what I'm locked into the most this season, storyline wise, is whether it's the scene with Kate when they're trying to, you know, get him on camera.
Yeah.
Or whether it's this stuff with Marie where he's like, she thinks one thing's going on and he goes, "Oh, are you worried about Odessa? Because I know that you know this, and I know you know this, and I know you know this." And that's why I say this scary kind of version of Professor X, where it's like somebody who he's not even going to tell you he's reading your mind. He just knows everything. He just knows everything. He can control you. That stuff was scary as hell. But it leads me back to Andre's dad. Why do you think it leads me to say, I think everything Polarity is, or all these names, everything Cypher is doing is like part of his plan.
Right.
So what is having Polarity on the staff? What does that get him? You know what I mean? Like it's that's what I'm most locked into storyline wise, is like this guy's so engaging that I'm like, what the hell? It's like scary to watch it,
right?
A little bit, but sorry.
No, I completely agree. Because in the moment when he like you see like two of them in like this office, and it's like, oh, Polarity got hired as and you're in your head, you're like, well, why would he want him? Like, what's the
why would
reason
he
that he
bring
would
him
want him
closer
here?
in?
Exactly. Yeah. So, like you said, I think throughout the rest of the season, there would be moments where it's just like like again, he just kind of knows everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know that I know that this is going to happen or something like that. So I'll be really interested to see how that plays out. There was something I wanted to touch on real quick, but I can't remember. Well, go on to we'll go to the other characters.
All right. Well, yeah, let's talk about the no pun intended, the main event, the Bender contender, if you will. Let's talk about let's go with Jordan. Everything going on with Jordan this season. Obviously we see Jordan there, lot of very fast development happening with Jordan, with you're back at the school. Jordan, who was always number one or number two or number three in the first season, is now back on campus, so back to number one, a better fighter than Marie in this little I'll call it the danger room, because I don't really know what else to call it, but this little fighting kind of room that he puts them all in for this like fighting class that they have. Basically, it's like Fight Club for them. What are your thoughts? Well, actually, I'm finding it hard to talk about them separately, so let's just go ahead. Let's just talk about what are your thoughts on everything going on with Marie, everything going on with Jordan, their relationship, which honestly I thought they were going to be a little more at blows with each other for longer than they were. I'm glad that relationship dynamic is back, because I really that was one thing in episode 1 and in episode 2 that I was a little like, I was like, oh man, why are you guys angry at each other? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm glad to see that. But then obviously we have this staged fight that again, we have a great Cypher moment where he kind of takes control of Jordan's body after Jordan reveals the truth in front of everyone about the fact that they are the ones that attacked Kate. We got Marie, like we talked about with Aunt Pam, kind of delving into and digging into her past, what kind of a hero she wants to be. Again, just like with Emma, while also we're getting a nice little sub arc for Marie of really honing in her powers. Again, wrapping into why does Cypher want her to be so powerful? There's that moment where she's like more powerful than Homelander. Why would Homelander want that? Right. Which makes me think, like, is Cypher in a way trying to take down Homelander? Like, but he himself is a villain. Like, you know what I mean? There's just so much going on. But what are your thoughts on everything going on with Marie and Jordan, the relationship, everything that we're going on here? There's so much of it.
I think something that played into, especially in the first 2 episodes with Marie and Jordan and their relationship, is they did a lot of telling you and just kind of like threw it in exposition of like, oh, well, Marie broke out of the prison and, she left us there. Yeah. And then, like all that stuff happened and now we're here and all that stuff. So there, in the first 2 episodes specifically, there's a lot of like, let's just get this out of the way and we'll tell you how all this happened. We're not necessarily going to show you any of it, but we'll fast forward, and then episode 3, it's like, okay, we're good. We're at a good starting point.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of played into it. Again, I also felt that too. I was like, man, they're just doing I remember them having a relationship in the first season, but I was like, they're doing a lot of like just telling me like how all this happened. And I'm like, I don't really have any, anything to like go look back on and be like, oh yeah, that's how that happened. But going forward, episode 3 and 4, I thought that was great. And the relationship kind of growing, the awkward moment of her saying I love you when they're in bed together, and him or them, I think it's a him at one point. Yeah. at that moment saying, I don't really know how to, I don't know how to respond to that. But then at another point, it's like, well, actually, no, not the more I think about it. Because in episode 3, when they're like giving the speech in front of the big crowd, and before they go up on stage, it's like, hey, I love you. And I think you can also take it both ways, where it's like, maybe they don't know what's going to happen when they go up and say that. Like, it's like, this could be my last time speaking to you or something like that. But also in the moment, it also seemed, me watching it, I was like, man, we just kind of like, we just went from saying like, I don't know what to say when you say I love you to like, well, I love you. I'm like, well, how did we get here? Like, I feel like there was no like middle ground. And obviously at one point they're like, you can't say like you can't say that the first time. Like, you know, like that's not a thing people do.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny kind of in the moment as well.
Yeah.
But I think that's like a relationship we'll see obviously to continue to grow, and obviously they'll probably be back and forth between the two. I thought the fight was really cool. I loved the blood bender versus the gender bender title. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Again, that guy who has been in, I think since season 2 of The Boys, that comedian who comes in as the Vaught marketing guy, like he's like, should I still be here? He said that like 4 times. It's like, I think I shouldn't be here. Like that stuff works so well.
And then Marie, I'm really interested in her backstory and how that all goes. That her talking to her aunt, I thought was really, really cool. And I really felt in that moment when she was like, my parents dying, it's not my fault. Like
literally.
I didn't know like what was going on.
When she says, no, you don't understand because you just said that I massacred my parents.
Right.
I was like, hey, man. I was like, you freaking tell her, man. I was like, I was so... And again, I did not like Marie in the first season. I just did not connect with her like crazy as the main character. As much as I wanted to, I was really, you know, liking Andre and really liking Emma, mainly were the two that I really loved in the first season. But man, something about this season, I am just like, I am in with Marie. I'm like, and then the reveal of which you kind of feel in the back of your head that you kind of knew was the truth, but the reveal that she sees that, oh, you have had my sister this whole time.
Right.
And you were just lying to me and not telling her and, you know, keeping us separated. I mean, that is just the worst. I mean, she's been looking for her for 10 years. And then obviously what she says to her is just so, but I also, it's not a thing where I blame, or it's not a thing even where I think the writer wants you to blame Aunt Pam. It's like, that's how people rationalize things. You know what I mean? It's like, well, this is what happened. I can't really process it. So I'm just going to blame what I know happened, which is that they died and she caused it. Right. and so that is the, you know, well, you know, a difficult conversation of it was something that your sister did, you know, turns into, you know, what's her name? Annabeth, I think.
I'm not sure off
something
like
that.
I think
it's Annabeth, but you know, that turns into, you know, her thinking, well, my sister's a monster. And then if your aunt is perpetuating that in you, you're going to instill that. And it's like, I'm sure Aunt Pam probably thought she was never going to see Marie ever again.
Right.
But it's like, well, here she is. And it's like, now you got to deal with it. And I liked that this show was like, you have to deal with it. Marie's a real person. She's standing in your living room. You can't just act like she's this, you know, thought that you had once that you just constantly put in the corner of your mind. She's real. She's right here standing in front of you. And I felt that in the scene between the two actresses. I thought it was just an incredible scene, honestly. Just purely like writing and acting wise.
We also get the reveal that she wasn't like shot up with Compound V. She was like,
again,
I guess I'm trying to remember like what she said exactly, but it almost sounded like she was like, she wasn't conceived, like she was conceived in the lab. So that made me think like, so was she like
genetically spliced or something?
Or something that's I don't know if that's actually true, but I thought that was really interesting. I don't know where that will end up going. But yeah, no, I think that was probably my favorite couple scenes in the 4 episodes, honestly. Was that realization. I thought that was really cool. Or really
I honestly
good.
I think I'm gonna say, and granted it's been 2 years, I think I like this season more than the first season already. I mean, and that's, you don't have to commit to that and you don't have to agree with that. I think I just already, and maybe it's because we watched all 4 so close together, could also be it, but still, I'm really, really enjoying this season so far.
One other thing really quickly I'll say is I do like that they are sprinkling in characters we know already. So like we had Aaron Moriarty, I think in episode 2, I think it was, for 10 minutes, maybe not even 5. And then the Deep was in it for like 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if we get any other.
Don't do Bleach.
I wouldn't be shocked if we got like a Carl Urban appearance or
like Sister Sage. I feel like they're gonna send Sister Sage in to be like, Marie, take it from me. Like some stupid like bot is sending her in to be like, a big sister program to Marie or something like that. But even Firecracker, we saw
she's
on her show. Yeah, exactly.
I thought all that was really cool. Trying to think if there's anything else I'm leaving out.
We even got a Madeline Stillwell shout out with the Rememberer when he said, I'll never forget the day they canceled it. Madeline Stillwell's office, 11:13 a.m. or whatever he said. It's like 2006. I was like, that's really funny that he's like, because of course Madeline Stillwell would have been the CEO in 2006. Mm-hmm. So that's just another piece of world building that like these shows are just so tight and they feel so like the same. You know what I mean? Like they really just do an effective way. And also I feel like it's almost a joke now that people are like, oh, The Boys color grading is like a joke in itself, that it's like everything's blue and everything's dark and whatever. I love it. I mean, both of these shows always look fantastic. Like the visual effects. And I feel like nobody ever talks about that. Like the cinematography and the visual effects in both of these shows, it's just the top of the game right now with how these shows can look, in my opinion. I think the sets, the college itself, I mean, it's huge. I mean, the production value on this show, I really think is incredible. And I think it's the budget must be insane.
One other thing I'll say, just from a human standpoint, I don't understand why there are even humans at this school. Is there like a reason?
Well, I think it's but I mean, before it was just humans and soups.
We're just commingling.
Supposedly we're commingling,
right.
And then I think we're just supposed to understand in that when the coffee girl's like, if I could get another job, I would quit. Because it's like, I think it's like the humans are kind of the leftovers of like, well, I've worked here for 10 years or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they can only fire them when they have a reason to be able to fire.
Because that was before that was my first thought before she said that. I was like, you should just go find a new job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think this is worth it. And we obviously get that intro when we kind of meet that girl, is the humans walking in through this big security area. They're wearing this human tag. And it
was very Days of Future Past.
It really,
reversed.
The one soup guy is like I'm assuming he has like X-ray vision, so he's basically just like scanning these people.
And then when he slows down on her, that's the kind of stuff that only this universe can do so well.
Right.
That it's
I do think there are moments where they go a tad overboard, and they're just like, there's moments where I just don't think some stuff is that funny. Like it's played like the guy chugging beer through his butt was funny. But then when we see him in episode 4, where he's got the guy like in his, like, it was just like something like crazy. And I was like, it's just not nethead for me in that moment. I was like, I just, I'm not really gaining anything from this, and I don't really find it that funny.
Yeah, exactly. There was a couple moments like that. Like, honestly, I thought it was funny, but I thought the gnome thing was like, okay. Like, I get it. Like, just how far that one went, I think was like, all right. But yeah, the other one with that guy was like, why did we even need that? They were just passing through the room. Like it just felt so out of nowhere. But also I think what I like, a show like this and that scene in particular to me is like, I'm not mad at it, but I'm like, not only did I not laugh at that, I feel like with this show, it could have just been something we've never seen before. It's like, it like, why did it have to be the same gag with the same guy?
Yeah.
Where it's like, it could just be somebody that we've never seen before doing something with a feather or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, it could be anything. This show really, can be anything, because it's not like we know every student. But yeah, very, very interesting. Interested to see where everything is going here. We got 4 episodes left. We have a whole nother month of this show to look forward to. After the very quick, Amazon loves doing that 3-episode drop. But we do have to get out of here. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this Gen V talk. If you're just joining us for our Gen V talk, this is a part of a bigger video that is on the channel right now, but is usually more of a free-flowing talk discussion on our show Planet Film Live, where we go live every single Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we are reviewing right now Gen V and Peacemaker every single week. So thank you for joining us for this Gen V review. All right. Boom. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this kind of special side episode, pre-tape episode of Planet Film Live, or in this case, just Planet Film not live. We appreciate you taking your time to watch this with us. We will be back next Wednesday to talk Peacemaker episode 6 and Gen V episode 5, as well as any other crazy geek news. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a look at the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer that came out. We'd be the only channel on the internet doing that. But that will do it for me. I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been doing those TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on all our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We will see you next time.
Boom.